General Warnoth has been kidnapped by humans. The declaration echoed through the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council. Representatives from dozens of alien species, each more bizarre and colorful than the last, erupted into chaos. Tentacles flailed, wings rustled, and luminescent eyes glowed with outrage. Council leader Vorshak, an imposing figure with iridescent scales and a commanding presence, banged his staff for silence. Order! This act of aggression cannot go unpunished. We must respond with the full might of our combined fleets. As the Council debated their response, the sentiment was unanimous: humanity must pay. A decision was made swiftly: a full-scale assault on Earth. On Earth, the mood was tense in the United Earth Government's secure bunker. Screens displayed incoming intelligence. An armada of unprecedented scale was mobilizing. General Marcus Caldwell, a seasoned military strategist with steely eyes and a gravelly voice, addressed the room. They're coming for us with everything they've got. We need a plan. Captain Ethan Hawke, unassuming but sharp-eyed, stepped forward. We send our weakest fleet. The room erupted in disbelief. That's suicide, one diplomat exclaimed. Hawke remained calm. Our weakest fleet, yes. But with our most advanced experimental technology. They expect a traditional battle. We must surprise them with something they've never seen. General Caldwell, known for his ability to spot potential in unconventional ideas, nodded slowly. Explain. Hawke outlined his plan. The fleet, though composed of older ships and inexperienced crew, would use advanced stealth tech and guerrilla tactics to disrupt and confuse the enemy. Our strength lies in our strategy, not brute force, he concluded. Despite skepticism, the plan was approved. The fleet was quickly assembled, a ragtag collection of ships that seemed ill-suited for the task. The crew, a mix of seasoned veterans and fresh recruits, gathered in the hangar. Captain Hawke addressed them. I know it looks bleak, he began, scanning the faces before him. But each of you has been chosen for a reason. We have technology that can turn the tide. Trust in your training and in each other. Among the crew were Lieutenant Jenna Taylor, a hot-headed pilot with a flair for risky maneuvers, Chief Engineer Raj Patel, whose cynical exterior masked unparalleled mechanical genius, Ensign Michael Carter, a rookie communications officer eager to prove himself, and Sergeant Paul Harris, a battle-hardened weapons specialist. As the fleet departed Earth, their outdated ships stood in stark contrast to the looming threat. On board, Hawke conducted intense training sessions. The crew learned to master cloaking devices, EMP pulses, and holographic decoys. Initial skepticism gave way to a growing sense of unity and purpose. We will use the element of surprise, Hawke emphasized during a briefing. Hit them where they least expect it and disappear before they can react. The first test came when the fleet encountered a scout group from the Council's armada. Using their stealth technology, the human fleet ambushed the scouts, disabling their ships with precise, coordinated strikes. The Council's forces were caught completely off guard, unable to call for reinforcements. This small victory boosted the crew's morale and confidence in Hawke's plan. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council, puzzled by the disappearance of their scouts, began to sense the cunning of their opponent. Back in the human fleet, Captain Hawke gathered his officers. The next step is crucial, he said. We'll lure their main fleet into a trap. They think we're weak and disorganized. We'll show them how wrong they are. The crew set to work, sending out decoy signals and positioning themselves strategically. Confidence and camaraderie surged as they realized the potential of their unconventional tactics. In the Galactic Council's flagship, unrest grew. Their expectations of a swift and decisive victory were crumbling. As they prepared to engage the human fleet, doubt crept into their minds. As the human fleet completed their preparations, Captain Hawke stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. This is it, he said quietly. We're ready. The human fleet drifted through the void, a collection of antiquated vessels hiding a wealth of advanced technology. On board the flagship, ISS Resolute, Captain Ethan Hawke gathered his officers for a final briefing. We're not here to match their strength, Hawke began, eyes scanning the room. We're here to outthink them. Lieutenant Taylor, status report? Lieutenant Jenna Taylor, a pilot known for her daring, stepped forward. All ships are operational. Cloaking devices are online, but they're untested in real combat. Chief Engineer Raj Patel, a wiry man with a sharp mind, chimed in. The EMP pulses and holographic decoys are ready. Just hope these relics hold together. Ensign Michael Carter, the rookie communications officer, nodded. Enemy transmissions indicate they're still searching for their scouts. They're on high alert. Sergeant Paul Harris, the grizzled weapons specialist, added. Weapons systems are primed. We've got one shot at this. Hawk nodded, pleased. Excellent. We'll begin with a series of hit-and-run attacks. Confuse them, make them question their sensors. Patel, make sure those decoys are convincing. As the officers dispersed, Taylor approached Hawk. Do you really think this will work? Hawk's gaze was steady. We have no choice but to succeed. They expect us to fight like a cornered animal. We'll show them the cunning of a fox. The fleet moved into position, utilizing asteroid fields and nebulae for cover. Tension ran high as the first wave of enemy ships approached. Hawk watched the sensor readouts intently. Taylor, take us in. The Resolute and its companions slipped silently through space, cloaked and undetected. As the enemy ships came within range, the human fleet sprang their trap. EMP pulses disabled the lead vessels, while holographic decoys created chaos among the ranks. Patel grinned at his console. They're buying it. Their systems are going haywire. Taylor's deft piloting ensured the fleet struck swiftly, then vanished before the Council's forces could retaliate. The enemy, accustomed to straightforward combat, struggled to adapt. Frustration and confusion rippled through their ranks. Carter intercepted a frantic transmission from the Council's flagship. They're demanding explanations from their captains. They have no idea what's hitting them. Hawk allowed himself a tight smile. Good. Keep them off balance. Prepare for the next strike. As the fleet regrouped, the crew's initial doubts began to dissolve. Training sessions intensified, with Hawk emphasizing the importance of their unique technology and tactics. In the mess hall, camaraderie flourished. Harris shared stories from past battles, while Patel and Taylor debated the finer points of their equipment. Even Carter, once nervous and unsure, found his footing, proving adept at decoding enemy communications. During a rare quiet moment, Hawk sat with Patel in the engine room. You've done wonders with these ships, Hawk said, admiring the engineer's handiwork. Patel shrugged, a rare smile on his lips. Necessity breeds innovation. We'll make it through this, Captain. Their confidence was tested when the main body of the Council's armada finally arrived. The sight of the vast fleet, bristling with firepower, was daunting. Yet, the human fleet held its nerve. Hawk outlined the next phase of their plan, a daring assault on the enemy's command ships to sow further chaos. Timing is everything, Hawk stressed. We hit them hard and fast, then disappear. The operation commenced with clockwork precision. The Resolute led the charge, cloaked and undetectable, slipping past enemy defenses. Taylor's expert piloting brought them within striking distance of the flagship. Patel unleashed a devastating EMP pulse, crippling the ship's systems. Harris directed the weapon's fire with deadly accuracy, targeting communication arrays and command centers. The Council's fleet, leaderless and disorganized, faltered. The human fleet struck relentlessly, each attack calculated to maximize confusion. As they withdrew, the crew's confidence soared. Hawk's plan was working. The enemy, though still formidable, was losing its cohesion. The human fleet's unorthodox tactics were proving their worth. In the aftermath, Hawk convened his officers. We've disrupted their chain of command. Now we prepare for the final phase. Taylor, eyes shining with determination, asked, What's next? Hawk's gaze was resolute. We lure them into the trap we've set. And then, we end this. The human fleet hovered in the shadow of a massive asteroid, the cold rock providing cover from the prying eyes of the Galactic Council's armada. On board the ISS Resolute, Captain Ethan Hawke observed the tactical display, his mind racing with possibilities. "Our decoy signals are working," reported Ensign Michael Carter, eyes glued to his console. "The Council's fleet is converging on the coordinates we fed them." Hawk nodded, satisfied. "Excellent. Patel, status on our systems?" Chief Engineer Raj Patel, ever meticulous, glanced up from his station. "All systems are green. Stealth fields are holding, and the EMP pulses are charged." Lieutenant Jenna Taylor, her hands steady on the controls, added, "The fleet is ready, Captain. Just say the word." Hawk took a deep breath. "We've lured them in. Now we spring the trap. Remember, our goal is to disrupt and dismantle their command structure. Without leadership, they're vulnerable." Sergeant Paul Harris, the weapons specialist, grinned. "And we've got just the tools for the job." As the enemy fleet drew closer, the human ships remained hidden, their advanced stealth technology rendering them invisible. Tension mounted in the cramped quarters of the Resolute. The crew, though seasoned, could feel the weight of the moment. This was their chance to turn the tide of the conflict. "Prepare for Phase 1. Hawk commanded. "We strike hard and fast, then fade away." Taylor's fingers danced over the controls, maneuvering the Resolute into position. The fleet's formation shifted subtly, each ship ready to unleash chaos on the unsuspecting enemy. Patel monitored the systems, ensuring everything was functioning perfectly. Carter intercepted enemy transmissions, his quick mind deciphering their frantic communications. The first volley of EMP pulses hit the Council's ships like a hammer. Systems flickered and died, leaving the massive vessels dead in space. Holographic decoys sprang to life, creating the illusion of a larger, more formidable human fleet. Panic spread through the Council's ranks as they struggled to make sense of the sudden onslaught. "We've got them," Taylor whispered, her eyes gleaming with determination. Harris directed the weapon's fire, targeting critical systems with surgical precision. Explosions rocked the enemy ships, further sowing confusion and fear. The human fleet struck again and again, each hit calculated to maximize disruption. The Council's forces, caught off guard, scrambled to respond but found themselves chasing phantoms. Carter relayed intercepted messages to Hawk. "Their commanders are issuing conflicting orders. They don't know who's in charge." Hawk smiled grimly. "Exactly as planned. Keep the pressure on. We need to fracture their chain of command completely." The fleet moved like ghosts through the battlefield, hitting and vanishing before the enemy could mount a counterattack. Morale among the crew soared. Their unorthodox tactics were proving devastatingly effective. Patel's engineering marvels and Taylor's expert piloting were crucial in maintaining their edge. The Council's flagship, Vanguard, loomed ahead, a massive fortress bristling with weapons. It was their primary target, the nerve center of the enemy fleet. Disabling it would be a crippling blow. "Prepare for the final assault," Hawk ordered. "Taylor, take us in. Patel, ensure we're at full power. Harris, I want precision strikes on their command centers." The Resolute approached the Vanguard under the cover of its cloaking device. Taylor navigated through the dense field of debris and enemy fire, her focus unwavering. Patel's modifications to the stealth systems held, keeping them hidden until the last moment. "Now!" Hawk shouted. The Resolute, and its companions decloaked, unleashing a barrage of EMP pulses and weapons fire. The Vanguard's shields flickered and failed under the sustained assault. Harris targeted the ship's command centers, each shot finding its mark with deadly accuracy. On board the Vanguard, chaos reigned. Communications were down, and systems were failing. The Council's leaders, once confident in their superiority, were now gripped by fear and uncertainty. The human fleet's relentless attacks had shattered their sense of invincibility. As the Vanguard began to list, its systems crippled, Hawk gave the order to retreat. The human fleet vanished into the void, leaving behind a scene of utter devastation. Back on the Resolute, the crew cheered, their spirits buoyed by the success of their mission. Hawk gathered his officers. "We've dealt them a significant blow," he said, his voice calm but triumphant. "But this isn't over. They'll regroup and come at us with renewed fury. We must be ready." The ISS Resolute, and its fleet regrouped in the shadow of a distant moon, battered but unbroken. Captain Ethan Hawke stood on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the tactical display. The Council's armada, though weakened, was rallying for a final assault. The stakes had never been higher. "We've done well, but the hardest part is yet to come," Hawke addressed his crew. "They'll throw everything they have at us. This is our last stand." Lieutenant Jenna Taylor, her determination unwavering, nodded. "We'll be ready, Captain. We've come this far. We can finish this." Chief Engineer Raj Patel, working tirelessly to keep the fleet's systems operational, chimed in. "Stealth fields are still holding. We've patched up most of the damage." Ensign Michael Carter, eyes sharp and focused, reported. "Intercepted transmissions indicate they're consolidating their forces. They're preparing for an all-out attack." Sergeant Paul Harris, ever the pragmatist, checked the weapons systems. "We've got enough firepower for one more round. We need to make every shot count." Hawke gathered his officers around the central console. "Here's the plan. We'll use the moon's gravitational field to slingshot behind their formation. Patel, your decoys will create a diversion. Taylor, you'll lead the charge. Harris, target their flagships. Carter, keep us informed of their movements." The crew dispersed, each member focused and determined. The human fleet moved into position, the shadow of the moon concealing their approach. Tension crackled in the air as the ships prepared for the decisive confrontation. Taylor's voice came over the intercom. "All ships ready, Captain. Awaiting your command." Hawke took a deep breath. "Engage." The fleet surged forward, propelled by the moon's gravitational pull. Patel's decoys flickered to life, drawing enemy fire and sowing confusion among the Council's ranks. The Resolute and its companions broke through the enemy lines, striking with precision and ferocity. Harris directed the weapons' fire, each shot meticulously aimed at the enemy's command centers. Explosions rippled through the Council's fleet as their flagships were systematically dismantled. The human fleet moved with calculated efficiency, their unorthodox tactics wreaking havoc on the enemy's formations. Carter's voice cut through the chaos. "Captain, they're trying to regroup. Reinforcements incoming from Sector 7. Hawke's mind raced. "Taylor, execute Maneuver Delta. Patel, deploy the last of the EMP charges." The fleet split into two groups, one continuing the assault while the other swung around to intercept the reinforcements. Taylor's expert piloting and Patel's engineering prowess combined to devastating effect. The EMP charges disabled the enemy's reinforcements, leaving them vulnerable to the human fleet's onslaught. On board the Resolute, the crew worked with unrelenting focus. Taylor guided the ship through the thick of battle, dodging enemy fire with breathtaking skill. Patel monitored the systems, ensuring everything ran smoothly despite the strain. Carter's constant updates provided invaluable intel, while Harris's sharpshooting decimated key targets. As the battle raged on, the tide began to turn in favor of the humans. The Council's fleet, though vast, was faltering under the relentless pressure. The human fleet's hit-and-run tactics, combined with their advanced technology, proved too much for the enemy to handle. Hawke watched as the enemy's flagship, the Vanguard, took a direct hit and began to disintegrate. A sense of triumph surged through him, but he knew the fight wasn't over yet. "Stay focused, everyone. We're not done until the last ship is down." The human fleet pressed their advantage, picking off the remaining enemy vessels with methodical precision. The Council's forces, leaderless and demoralized, began to retreat. Victory was within reach. In the final moments of the battle, Taylor's voice broke the tension. "Captain, we've done it! The enemy is retreating. They're falling back." A cheer erupted through the Resolute. Hawke allowed himself a rare smile. "We did it," he said softly. "We actually did it." The fleet regrouped, the battered ships coming together in the aftermath of the battle. Hawke addressed his crew one last time. "We faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious. Each of you played a crucial role in this victory. You have my deepest gratitude." The crew, exhausted but exhilarated, exchanged smiles and handshakes. They had achieved the impossible, turning the tide of the war with their ingenuity and bravery. As the Resolute and its fleet made their way back to Earth, this sense of accomplishment was unmeasurable. They had proven that even the weakest fleet, with the right strategy and determination, could overcome the mightiest foe.